Hey, what's up everybody? This is Swaggadon with Swagger Gaming, bringing you another World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth beta first look video. Today we'll be looking at the Destruction Warlock. Please remember that everything in this video is from the beta test server and is subject to change. I will do my best to keep up with any changes made to the spec in the description and comment sections of this video. Destro locks were the targets of some ability pruning, but most of the changes made to the baseline spellbook were small numbered tweaks. To start off, both Summon Doomguard and Life Tap were removed from the spec. The Firebolt ability on the Imp Pet has had the increased damage against targets with Immolate portion removed, and Health Funnel has been tweaked to now sacrifice 25% of your health to heal over 5 seconds instead of 24% over 6 seconds. Summon Infernal has had its duration increased from 25 to 30 seconds and now also generates a Soul Shard fragment every half second. The passive ability Soul Leech now only grants a shield equal to 8% of your damage dealt, up to 10% of your maximum health baseline. This was 10% of the damage dealt up to 15% of max HP in Legion. Command Pet has had its abilities switched up as well. The Succubus now has Seduction instead of Whiplash, and the Imp has Singe Magic instead of Cauterize. The Fell Hunter still has Spell Lock, and the Voidwalker still has Shadow Bulwark. Havoc has had its mana cost reduced from 8% of base mana to 2%, and its cooldown reduced from 45 to 25 seconds, but the effect is the same. Drain Life now only lasts for 5 seconds instead of 6, and Soulstone no longer costs mana. A bunch of other spells had their mana cost changed as well. Shadowbolt went from 6% to 2% of base mana, Immolate from 6% to 1.5%, Incinerate from 5% to 2%, Fear from 10% to 15%, Create Healthstone from 5% to 2%, Eye of Kilrogg from 4% to 3%, Banish from 2.5 to 1.5%, Ritual of Summoning from 4% to 5%, Unending Resolve from 10% to 2%, Enslave Demon from 5% to 2%, Create Soulwell from 10% to 5%, and Demonic Gateway from 10% to 20%. I will put these numbers and a link to the graphic in the description down below. There were 2 new talents added to the Destruction Warlock baseline spellbook as well. The first one is the passive ability Backdraft, which was taken from the talent tree. This makes your Conflagrate reduce the cast time of your next Incinerate or Chaos Bolt by 30%. The second new talent is Shadow Fury. This was pulled out of the Destro and Demo talent trees and stuns all enemies within 8 yards for 3 seconds. Shadow Fury has a 1.5 second cast time and a 1 minute cooldown. There are a lot of familiar faces in the Destro Lock talent tree, but many of them have been moved, tweaked, or changed outright. In Tier 1, Backdraft was removed and Roaring Blaze and Shadowburn were moved out. Instead we get Eradication from Tier 2, which has had its damage increase nerfed from 15% to 10%, and 2 brand new talents. Flashover is the first new talent and makes your Conflagrate deal 25% increased damage and grant an additional charge of Backdraft. Soulfire is the other new talent and it costs 2% of base mana on a 20-second cooldown with a 1.5 second cast time. This burns the enemy, dealing fire damage and generating 4 Soul Shard fragments. Cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds for every Soul Shard spent. Tier 2 saw Eradication moved, Empowered Life Tap removed, and Reverse Entropy completely reworked. Reversed Entropy now gives your spells a chance to grant you 15% haste for 8 seconds. This procs approximately 2.5 times per minute. Shadowburn was moved in from Tier 1 and tweaked. It no longer replaces Conflagration and now has 2 charges baseline. Its mana cost was cut in half to 1% of base mana and it now generates a base 3 Soul Shard fragments instead of 5. Internal Combustion is the new talent in this row and it lets your Chaos Bolt consume up to 5 seconds of your Immolate's damage over time effect on your target, instantly dealing that much damage. In Tier 3, Shadow Fury was moved to a baseline talent and both Demonic Circle and Mortal Coil were moved out. Instead we get Demon Skin, Burning Rush, and Dark Pact from Tier 5. Burning Rush was unchanged, but both Demon Skin and Dark Pact had their numbers tweaked. Demon Skin now has a max absorb of 15% down from 20, and Dark Pact Shield is now from 250% of sacrificed health down from 400 and now sacrifices your health instead of your demons. Tier 4 still has both Cataclysm and Fire and Brimstone, but both have been tweaked. Soul Harvest was removed and replaced by a new talent called Inferno. Cataclysm has had its cast time reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds, and Fire and Brimstone now only deals 40% damage on extra targets hit by Incinerate. However, it now generates 1 Soul Shard fragment for each additional enemy hit. The new talent Inferno gives your Rain of Fire damage a 20% chance to generate a Soul Shard fragment. Tier 5 saw all 3 spells moved out to Tier 3. We get Demonic Circle and Mortal Coil traded in from Tier 3, and a new talent called Dark Fury. Demonic Circle and Mortal Coil had their mana cost reduced to 2% of base mana from 5 and 6% respectively, but are otherwise unchanged. The new talent Dark Fury simply reduces the cooldown on Shadow Fury by 15 seconds. In Tier 6, Grimoire of Service was removed from the spec, but both Grimoires of Sacrifice and Supremacy remain, and both were changed. Grimoire of Sacrifice has simply had its AoE damage portion removed, but Grimoire of Supremacy has been completely reworked. It now makes every Soul Shard you spend increase the damage of your Chaos Bolt by 8% while your Infernal is active. Roaring Blaze was moved in from Tier 1 and has also been completely changed. It now makes Conflagrate apply a 6-second fire damage over time effect to your target. Tier 7 still has Soul Conduit, which has been nerfed to 15% refund chance on Soul Shards, down from 20%, and Channel Demon Fire, which has had its mana cost reduced from 4.8% of base mana to 1.5%. Dark Soul Instability is a new talent in this tier and is on a 2-minute cooldown. It increases your critical strike chance by 30% for 20 seconds. I was surprised by the raw damage output of the Destruction Warlock while testing it out. It makes quick work of multiple mobs while questing and posted some extremely high numbers in dungeons. The damage will most likely even out a bit when doing harder content where you cannot just sit still and turret, but the sheer power and durability of the Destro lock impressed me. Well, that's all I have for the Destruction Warlock. If you liked this video, please think about hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and have a great one.